chalkboard.
Why?
Because of the sound, it goes, yeah.
My earliest memory with chalk is when I was probably about 3 or so. My teacher would write very neatly how like letters on the board to help us teach us how to write.
And numbers, everything?
Yeah, you know, very, very neat handwriting. And you had those lines on the board to, you know, align it properly.
My earliest memory of chalk is drawing hopscotch on the pavement at my babysitter's house.
What is your earliest memory with chalk?
I never wanted to be called on when the teacher asked me to write.
When he had a question you had to answer on the chalkboard?
No.
Never?
I would hide. No.
You would hide?
My earliest memory of chalk is coming home, and I had this little chalkboard easel thing, and I would write down like everything I learned that day and teach my dad it.
My earliest memory with chalk was when I spent a summer in the States with my cousins when I was 5, because I used to live in England. And one of my cousins was really artistic, and she'd grind the sidewalk chalk up and make paint, and then she'd draw Disney characters. And I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, so that's my earliest memory with chalk.
When I was a little kid during basketball games, we'd go into a classroom at halftime. My coach would draw up plays on the chalkboard, and it made a really weird sound. It wasn't cool. I couldn't really see. So that was not fun about chalk. That's what I remember.
No, and there was a lot of pressure to remember the plays and stuff.
Totally.
Yeah, that's what worse. Thank you.
My first memory with chalk was I was in 1st grade, and my teacher was writing something on the board, and she erased it with her hands, and that really grossed me out. And then she didn't wipe it off on her pants, and then she touched me and her hands were all chalky, and I didn't like how it felt. So that, I don't know, I always hated when people erase the board with their hands after that and didn't use the eraser.
Okay, good. So what's your earliest memory with chalk?
My earliest memory with chalk would be in elementary school. My music teacher had one of those wire things that you put the pieces of chalk in, and you could run the lines across to make music stats, and I thought that was really cool.
Chalk has been a vital part of our education system since the early 19th century, when it became widely used in all classroom settings. The main reason chalk became so popular was because it was an easy way to teach the masses, mainly because of the rising class sizes during the time period. The average piece of chalk is usually white and 9 millimeters in diameter with a length of 3.15 inches. However, this is not the only form. It comes in sidewalk chalk, agricultural chalk, and powder chalk as well. Also, it can be found in toothpaste and builder's putty. Modern humans were not the first to discover the power of chalk. Cavemen are the earliest known users of chalk in their elaborate cave drawings. Chalk is a natural forming limestone that was mined to create these various products. Calcium carbonate is the main component. It goes through many processes in order for it to look like the chalk we see every day. First, the limestone is quarried and crushed into a very fine grain. Next, the calcium carbonate is wet milled to wash away large pieces and impurities to make it suitable for writing. Other types of chalk, like pastels, go through a similar process, but use a slightly different type of limestone. After the chalk particles are wet milled, they are sifted again to get the finer particles. This is then mixed with water and cut into proper size and length. The chalk has to sit around for 4 days and then is able to be sold and used.
What I like least about chalk is when you have a crappy brand. And I don't know if I'm supposed to drop brand names, but Crayola sucks. It doesn't have a real fine grain to it. It's sort of coarse. Even when you write on a good chalkboard, it seems to have some sort of additive in it that leads to it giving it a coarse texture that doesn't have high contrast. It's hard to read. It's hard to erase, and I hate that. And I'm kind of a chalk snob, so I've got my own brand, and I only use my own brand, and so I think that's probably what I like most about chalk.
Okay, so what don't you like about chalk?
Chalk, I hate the dust. I run computers, and chalk dust is the enemy of computers.
What's your favorite thing about chalk? What do you like most?
What I like most is that it doesn't smell like the solvent markers.
Okay.
If I teach with those, I usually end up getting high by the end of the class.
Okay. What's your favorite thing about chalk? What do you like most about it?
I think my favorite thing about chalk was in elementary school again, being able to get out of the class to clean the erasers.
What does the future bring for chalk? Will it be taken over by markers and smartboards, or will it be staple in our children's lives forever? As we have learned, our society is ever-changing and is now dependent on technology. Can we still be satisfied with the affordances of chalk, or do we need to move on? Will chalk still be defined by academic uses, or will it be used more as recreation? There have already been giant leaps with the uses of chalk. Some artists have mastered the technique of sidewalk drawing and have taken it to the extreme in the form of 3D art on a flat surface. Also, several new chalk products have been made. For example, a new paint that can make any surface a blackboard has emerged in kitchens and bedrooms, creating a new, unique way to use chalk in everyday life. So what do you think?